Stick with me, I'll make you famous. I'll take you places to see different faces. I'm Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer. This is a series of videos around YouTube re-engineering or reverse engineering. We are on video number 3. We are talking about views. The one thing that I want you to know about YouTube views is that they are dumb. Yes, they are dumb views. What are dumb views? Dumb views are views that are only concentrating on being views, not something else. These views are not trying to be smart or intelligent. If I might use a term that you might understand or be familiar with, they are not only dumb, they are selfish views. Meaning that these views, they don't lend a hand. They don't help the other parts of the layers or the architecture, which is the controller. This is the controller. So these views, they don't assist the controller by taking a certain portion of the instructions that are here and involved that here. Why these views are going to be dumb and selfish? It's simply because they want to be self-aware. They want to feel themselves. They want to be only themselves. They don't want to be a watered down version of a controller or a watered down version of the model. Let's just take this to real life. If somebody has got character, if somebody has got unique attribute, if somebody have some certain things that you can depend upon, you know that if you ask Matthew to do a certain task, he will complete it. He's got an iron will. He will make sure that he completes it. Even in the work environment, the managers and the HR team, they are looking for those people that you can depend upon. So that's what these views are trying to do. They are trying to make sure that the developers, they can depend upon. Remember, YouTube, it's a very big platform, and I'm assuming it's not being maintained by a team of 2 or 3 or even 10 software developers or engineer or front-end developers. There is a lot in that team, people who are maintaining. So if one developer can come up with a view that is not dumb, a view that is smart, a view that is responsible for being a view, and also it pulls data from the database, and also it makes some decisions and logic about who is logged in and who is searching coding and who is searching what. Now when we want to replace this view with another view, as you know that YouTube is one of those platforms that keeps on updating and keeps on changing things. YouTube is different from the time it was bought or it was acquired by Google. It has been evolving, it has been changing. They are changing this, they are changing that. However, that's not wrong because they are responding to the market's ever-ending need. So it means that if this view can be smart and it can be do a lot of things, at some point it's trying to assist the controller taking some of the chunks of the code and put it here. That means this view cannot be substitutable. It cannot be easily replaceable. That will mean that YouTube might fail to adapt to these changes. It might fail to compete. It will remain stale because now they are going to take time to replace this view, simply because when they are replacing this view has got a piece of information that does things that is not supposed to be doing. Now let's talk principles and design pattern. This view, when it's a dumb view and it's selfish, it conforms to the single responsibility principle. From what? From solid principle. Single responsibility, to only do one thing and do it very well, to be the master of one thing instead of being the jack of all trade. So this helps YouTube team to easily maintain and swap the views. So YouTube views are dumb and they are selfish. Point number 2, YouTube views, they stick to rules of engagement. What are rules of engagement? These views, they are not just views, because remember, they are not just the stand-alone. These views will communicate with the controller. So they need to conform to the rules of engagement. They must have a way of communicating with the controller so that they can receive information. As you might know a thing or two about PHP, one of the things that are being talked about PHP, of one of its advantages, it's for creating dynamic website. So these views, they must stick to certain rules of engagement so that they can be dynamic. Information must be fed into these views so that things can change. So it will mean that as much as they are views, but they must stick to contracts. What might be a contract in a real coding sense? This is just normal HTML. And in this HTML, certain things must change. Maybe the list of videos that are being shown, and also at some point the username here, the user might change. It might be Matthew with my picture on, it might be so and so. So meaning that this view must be able to receive, it must have an entrance, an entry point where it will receive this information. Do you see that now it's starting to conform to the rules of engagement? It must have an entry point so that the controller can pass some certain information to it. Then it will take this information, let's say it's an array, then it will take this information and display information here on that array, break down the second index of an array and display a list of videos and whatsoever. So YouTube views, they stick to the rules of engagement. They are not just closed views. As much as they are dumb, as much as they are selfish, but they are saying that, look, I'm willing to cooperate with the controllers, but I cannot take what the controller does and fit it here. So let's say tomorrow we have a different view, a different layout of the HTML. How is it going to be added? As long as that view sticks to the rules of engagement. This is view number 2. As long as this view stick to the rules of engagement, then that means this controller can just communicate to this view without being aware of it's communicating to a different view, without even this view being aware of it's being fed by a controller or a different controller. This is Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer. This is a series of videos where I'm reverse engineering YouTube. If you like this type of content, please do me a favor and subscribe so that when I'm releasing video number 4, where I'm talking about business layer. Now I'm done with the view. I'm going to talk with the business layer next. See you on the next one. Stick with me. I'll make you famous.